Hey, what is up, guys? It is Cameron Talks Football. In today's video, I'm going to be interviewing one of the Patriot Instagram reporters, and you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you?
I'm Ethan Hurwitz. I run Gillettenation on Instagram. Um, Thanks for having me.
No problem. Where do you see the Patriots going in the draft? Do you see them going for possibly Marvin Harrison if he's at three, or do you see them taking the quarterback route?
I think this is such an interesting draft because when you look at the Patriots, a lot of their problems won't be fixed with just one player, right? There are some teams that you draft a quarterback and you plug them in and they turn into a contender.
Yeah,
With
exactly
the
like the Bengals or whatever. Yeah, I
Patriots,
feel you.
right. With the Patriots, if you draft, say, Marvin Harrison at three, who's going to be throwing him the ball? You really don't know who your quarterback is. But if you draft, say, Caleb Williams or Drake May, you don't really know who he's throwing the ball to because your receivers are either injured, hitting free agency. You don't really have that upper echelon top tier guy. So I think it's such a weird spot that you don't really know who to take because your team's not going to be fixed with just this one player. If I had to put money on it, I'd say they're probably going to be going quarterback just because this is just the most important draft in 20 some odd years for the Patriots. You really have no direction. I think that they go quarterback, but for all we know, they want to go Marvin Harrison at three and maybe trade up for a quarterback in round two or trade back into the first rounds. But I'd say going quarterback would probably be the biggest fix and the easiest way to fix this team is starting at with the most important position on the field.
Yeah, because honestly, I don't think our defense really needs too much changing. As you could see, it was like after week nine, we weren't allowing that many points. And then towards the end of the season, it seemed like we wanted to tank more so we could get that top three pick. In my opinion, I wanted us to beat the Jets. So we can continue that, that streak of 8 years. But seeing us lose and then seeing the Cardinals lose really did help us get that top three pick. So I'm fine with that. Honestly, with quarterback. If Bo Nix could be there in the second round, maybe, because there's all the teams that need a quarterback are in like the top 10. And there's not that many quarterbacks in the top 10 that really need a quarterback. But if there's a quarterback at three, I would probably say Drake May. Honestly, all of his tape is just outstanding. His numbers is not like, of course, like a Bo Nix type of numbers. It's just because, Bo Nix had way more people to throw to at Oregon than Drake May did at UNC. But free agency, there's also like those receivers that you can get in free agency. There's not like a quarterback in free agency. So you could always just go quarterback at the draft, which is always the most important position. We thought that with Mac Jones after year one, he was doing great. And then all of a sudden they just didn't surround him with talent. So where do you like who do you think who would you rather see? Like, would you rather see a Drake May, Bo Nix, was it Jaden Daniels? Who do you think? Because I like Drake May.
Yeah, I'd say if you can get Caleb Williams or Drake May, I think those are your probably best two options, regardless of if you prefer Williams to May or May to Williams. I think one of those two guys immediately like gives you your starting quarterback. Now, acting under the impression that Williams goes one, May goes two, and you really need a quarterback. I really like Jaden Daniels. I think the tape that he put on this year, obviously winning the Heisman, but I think he really could be that type of player that we saw CJ Stroud jump to in
Yeah.
year one, especially, just with his mobility. And it's really something that the Patriots have never really had a mobile quarterback, at least in this day and age, like just they've been able to move in the pocket, but really no one that can use their legs to really become a weapon. And I think that Jane Daniels could really become that type of guy. Um, with that being said, I'd be fine with Caleb Williams. I'd be fine with Drake May. I'd honestly be fine with Michael Penix. I love Michael Penix. I think he's just a tough guy. Um, the one thing I don't like about him is that he's a lefty quarterback, and watching lefty quarterbacks is just a weird thing for me.
Yeah, it's
But
just the only lefty quarterback that I remember ever doing good would be like Tim Tebow in like his earlier years, and then
I,
it starts to fade off. And it's like
yeah,
receivers just aren't used to it, it seems
yeah,
like.
it's a weird thing because usually teams draft left tackles to be your most important tackle because you have to protect the right-handed quarterback's backside, but now you have to move the right tackle to be your most important offensive lineman. So, whether they want to do, for all they know that we might see them trade up from number three to number two and really get their guy if they want Drake May or Caleb Williams. I just think they need a quarterback. and I think you need to find a quarterback for your future. And so, whoever they take, I'll probably convince myself that they'll be the guy. But I really like Jane Daniels, and so I think if you can't get one of those top two guys, I really like Jane Daniels in either three or late round one, early round two.
Yeah, because we don't even know if the Bears are gonna, use their pick. This is honestly, if they're gonna use their pick, using it to take Hale Williams. Honestly, I think that's what they should do. But I honestly hope they make the worst decision so they can come to us, because who has the number 2 pick again? I keep always forgetting.
Washington.
Washington, yeah, they're definitely gonna take a quarterback, so we would have to jump ahead of them. And if he goes to Washington, that's honestly not that bad of a place for him to be because he has Terry McLaurin. He's gonna have a number 1 wide receiver. And then then they just got their new general manager, was it the 49ers general manager or whatever? Yeah, he knows how to reconstruct offenses like crazy and just rosters in general. So honestly, I don't want to see him do there because then he's gonna dominate the league there. And then who knows? I think it's probably gonna be another NFC East winner again because the past 20 years it's always been someone different. But
Yeah,
hopefully
they've never had a repeat winner in at least 2 decades.
yeah, I just hope we can come back to at least probably not win the AFC East right away. It's going to take some time, but at least sneak into that 7th seed, show that we're like that team again. And then it's not going to be the Patriot way with Bill Belichick. It's going to be Gerard Mayo. It's going to be on that defense. We're going to be that kind of the boogeyman part two. Hopefully, I remember watching that live one game. It was just the awesomest thing to see. I don't know if did you ever see any of those boogeyman
Yeah, yeah,
defensive games?
yeah.
It was just something else. But yeah, honestly, if the defensive route we're gonna go, I think you go defense like second, third round. The first 2 rounds, I think we have to go offense. Our defense is fine. I like how our defense played. Offense, we need a wide receiver. There are so many good wide receivers in free agency, and there's so many good wide receivers in the draft. Like we could trade back to like 10, get a quarterback, get a first round pick from someone else, have 2 first round picks in the first round and get a quarterback and a receiver like Romeo and Dunze. Is that how you say it? Roma Dunze?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. I don't want to butcher someone's last name that is pronounced incorrectly. But yeah, it's so deep. Like we're gonna have hopefully Kendrick Bourne again. I hope we re-sign him, and then we're gonna have Demario Douglas, and then a wide receiver 3, which will be one that we get in the draft, and then a new quarterback. But I don't know where we're going to get an offensive lineman. Offensive line is just in shambles. It is just sad to see. No matter what quarterback we had back there, it was just terrible.
Yeah, I think that the thing about offensive line is at least the interior, I'd say, is pretty well constructed. You have David Andrews at center. He's Mr. Reliable.
Yeah, he always will be.
I'm not worried about him. And then the guard positions, you have Cole Strange, who had a really breakout year this year before getting hurt. He really, you know, everyone didn't really like the pick when he first
Yeah,
came in. So
either
I
did
think
I. I didn't even know where Chattanooga was.
I think this year he really took a step up in his terms of play. And then on the right side, we had City Sow, the rookie from Eastern Michigan, who was I think he made the all Pro Football Focus all rookie team. And so I think those three positions are really solidified. It's just the offensive tackles are really, really, really shaky. And I think if you re-sign Mike Onwenu, which should probably be one of our first 2 moves in free agency, I think you can solidify either the right or left tackle position, especially bringing him back. And I've been talking with a number of people about this, about them taking an offensive lineman at 3. And so I'm not for it. I think that they need to take a receiver or quarterback at 3, but I think a lot of people would be really upset if they took a lineman at 3.
Oh yeah,
And
the whole fan base would just go crazy.
yeah,
I
so
think it would divide everybody.
the way I was talking about it was, let's say that we take Joe Alt, projected number 1 offensive tackle from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Let's say we draft him, he becomes the left tackle of the future, becomes like a 10-time All-Pro and a Hall of Famer. That's best case scenario. But really, even if we drafted a Hall of Fame tackle at number 3, I really think this fan base would lose their mind because no one's going to wear a lineman's jersey. No one's going to buy a lineman's jersey. No one's really going to be. It's hard to get excited about offensive line picks,
Yeah, that's
especially when
for
you have
sure.
glaring needs at quarterback and wide receiver. And so I think this fan base would go absolutely crazy if they took an offensive lineman, regardless of how good he is, solely because of the fact that a receiver and a quarterback are your biggest two holes really on the offense. And people really want to see a new face under center and a new face catching passes.
Yeah, because like a lineman doesn't put butts in seats. A
Right.
quarterback or a star wide receiver puts butts in seats. Why did you think like Cincinnati was constantly having people in the stands and they were all playing, and then when they started to get hurt, it started to die down a little bit. So
Yep.
that is why you need some star power out there. But I think what is it? We're gonna have the third overall pick, and then the third overall pick in the second round, and then it's just
I
gonna
think
get
I think
shaken
the
up after
way
that.
I think they have pick 34, which is
The
there's a
second pick.
weird, which is the second pick in the third round, because it's a weird rule that we got the third pick behind Washington because of strength of schedule. So Washington had a weaker schedule than us, meaning they got a higher pick. But when you go back, that's only in the first round. So when you go into the second round and third round, it doesn't go by strength of schedule, it goes by head to head. And so Washington beat New England, which means Washington gets a worse pick. So I just figured this out that we have 34 and Washington is 35. Or I may be getting this wrong, and
Yeah, it's just always
I may be
scrambled, it
completely
feels like.
lying. I just know that we have a very early pick in the second round. Um, but I think it's 34 because 32 in the first and then 33 and 34 would be one and two in the second. Um, but you're in a position really when you can move around, um, or get really two top tier players just at the top of round one and two.
Like, do you think Bo Nix could possibly fall to the second round because of like his age concern? His numbers are definitely aren't a concern. He's definitely put on some like insane numbers to be a first round pick. I think it's just his age. He's really not too much older than all the first round quarterbacks. Only by a couple months. They just see that 1 year and they just go crazy about that. They don't go by the months. It's really not that big of a difference. It's like
Yeah.
6 months or whatever, which is honestly not that bad.
Yeah.
Is that why do you think he'll fall?
I I think a lot of people take too much stock into the ages of some of these players. Kyle Duggar was like a 24-year-old rookie. And he's been one of our best defensive players, but there is like a concern when you're drafting a player, especially someone that you want to be the quarterback for the next hopefully 10 years, that they can last. And so I guess having a player who's 21 compared to someone who's 24, it's something to look at. But at the end of the day, I think the Patriots and the Patriots fan base want to win now. So I think just bringing someone in who can help you get as close as you can to winning, regardless of how old they are. If you want to draft a quarterback who's 21, or if you want to sign a quarterback off the street that I've never heard of who's 35, like what the Browns did with Joe Flacco, if you can sign someone like Joe Flacco who's 35 years old and can help you win games, I'm all for it. Obviously, I'd prefer to draft a rookie
Yeah.
quarterback, but I think really if you can play, you can play. And so I like having younger players out there because you can have a lot of growth and you can have a sort of a youth explosion on the team. But you know, Patriots were winning games with 42-year-old Tom Brady. So obviously he's an
Yeah,
outlier.
you
But
can't compare Tom Brady to
right,
Joe
right.
Flacco
But
type
I
of
think
player.
a lot of the ages, I think people take too much stock into that. So, if Bo Nix is the guy, Bo Nix is the guy. Like, if the team wants Bo Nix, like, go for it. Like, let's roll with Bo Nix. But, it's something to look at. But I wouldn't really write a player off because, they're too old.
Honestly, as long as we don't trade out of the top 10, I'll be fine. If we trade out of the top 10, we better get a first round pick this year and a first round pick next year. Anything other than that is just a waste. Deron Mayo needs to let these fans know that he is thinking of the future. And the best way to do that is to either draft that quarterback or build for the upcoming years with a pick this year, like their pick this year, and then if we can get two first round picks this year and somehow first round pick next year from someone else, then that is going to solidify our offense. That is going to solidify our team. And everyone doesn't know like that Jerron Mayo was, I'm pretty sure it was in his contract that after Bill Belichick left, he was supposed to be the head coach. People just didn't know that why they didn't go out and try and look at for Mike Vrabel. It was in his contract that he was going to be the next Patriots head coach. I like it. He learned from Bill Belichick. He was one of Bill Belichick's favorite players while he was playing for the Patriots and while he was coaching for the Patriots. So I think he's going to do well. And if he ever needs help, I feel like Bill Belichick will sometimes maybe if they're not in the same division, at least, like point them in the right direction because Bill Belichick will always have a place in New England for sure.
Mhm.
And then
Yep.
like I don't even know where like I don't even know what pick would be wrong. I think the only wrong pick would be an offensive lineman. Everything else is on the board that I would like. I think every other Patriot fan would like would be a receiver or quarterback, trade back as long as it's not outside the top 10. Because we used to have to watch like th 2.5 hours of the draft to see who we used to pick. And we would even trade out of the first round. And then like I just sat 2.5 hours to just see the Patriots trade out of the first round. And now we have to only watch like 30 minutes of it, which is gonna be fine. I'm fine with it as long as we use the pick. But
Yep.
now then you see like teams like the Texans move on, and that's honestly the team I want to support. Is that like the team that you want to support? The team in the AFC I want to support is the Texans. Team in the NFC would be the Lions. What about you? What are you supporting in the playoffs since Patriots definitely aren't in it?
Yeah, so AFC is definitely Houston. There's just a lot of former Pats on that Houston team, especially the other teams in the AFC. I really just grind my gears.
Yeah, the Chiefs I definitely don't like seeing.
I'd rather see Houston win over Baltimore, Kansas City, or Buffalo. Buffalo would probably be my second favorite team just because I have family in Buffalo. So it'd be nice for them to finally get something
To
to
finally, break
cheer about.
that 0-4 curse.
But no, definitely coming out of the AFC would definitely be Houston. NFC, I really like every team in the NFC. I'd say Green Bay would probably be last on that. But I really, I'm a big fan of Brock Purdy. I'm a big fan of the Detroit Lions culture that they have, and Baker Mayfield's like a baller. Like people might
Yeah.
not like Baker Mayfield, but he's just got that swag, and he's just a fun quarterback to watch. And that Tampa team, I've watched a number of their stuff, especially when Tom was there, and I sort of grew a tiny piece of appreciation for Tampa when Brady was down there, but. The NFC, I can really support anyone coming out of it. AFC is definitely Houston though. So I guess best case scenario for me would probably be a Super Bowl between Houston and either Detroit, Tampa Bay, or San Francisco. Those would probably be my ideal scenarios.
Yeah, because I definitely don't want to see the Chiefs in there. I have a friend that's a Chiefs fan. I wouldn't care if the Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl, just I don't want them there because of Taylor Swift. They're constantly going to try and keep pushing her on screen. Like we don't care. Like Travis Kelce would get like the most basic 10-yard catch. And then I already know, like, I tell my friends they're gonna pan to Taylor Swift right away, and then she doesn't even know what's going on. She just claps. It's like that. There's a lot of girls that know football, but it doesn't seem like she's in the aware of what's going on because half the time she's like, I call her. There's like times where she's looking at her phone. I'm like, you're watching your boyfriend or whatever that they are play in the NFL, and you don't even know what's going on. But yeah, they're definitely gonna try and keep the Chiefs as long as they can because those new fans constantly getting more views. That's all the NFL cares about is new views. They would rather see a team like the Chiefs or the Ravens represent the AFC than the Texans because those are more big market teams. And in the NFC, they're probably going to want to see a team like, the definitely not the Lions or probably not either, Buccaneers. They probably want to see the 49ers just because they're a big market team. They're exciting, they're flashy. But honestly, I don't care about that. I want to see new teams that haven't won before or haven't won in a while finally get that. It'd be cool to see Buffalo versus Detroit. Two teams fighting for their first Super Bowl, and then they're just like, clashing it out. And I think that would be honestly a good Super Bowl. Two good offenses and then two like shaky defenses because, Buffalo kind of got exposed by the Steelers a little bit. I don't know if you watched that, but they kind of got exposed and then, that last, play really helped them out.
Yeah.
And it's like really weird season this year. Hopefully, I hopefully it goes well, but I'm just waiting for the draft. I don't know where we're gonna go, but hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean the draft is always, a super fun time of the year, and um, obviously it's a much different position this year for Patriots fans than it is in years past. And instead of having to wait up till midnight to watch the pick, you're gonna end up seeing them pick before 8:30. Um, and so it's going to be exciting. Whether they take a quarterback, receiver, trade down, take a lineman, which I'm sure people would lose their minds about. It's probably the most important offseason and draft process since they've drafted Drew Bledsoe. Um, And so it's an exciting time. We got a few more months to really delve into that, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, people's minds are definitely going to keep changing throughout these 3 months, but it's going to be three things. It's going to be trade back, draft a receiver, or draft a quarterback. It's going to keep being the same things. It's just going to be what quarterback are we going to take? Is there anything else that you want to like talk about before we do like slowly do end this? Is there anything else you want to like talk about the Patriots, like talk about what direction you want to see them go? And then I could
Yeah,
like
I
lead off of
mean,
that.
at the end of the day, I just want to see them win. I really think that that's just the number one thing that the fan base wants to see, the people that live in the area want to see, and it's something that, especially for me, I've grown up seeing them winning. So, seeing them have a 4-13 season is really just something I'm not used to seeing. And I might be one of those like old man yell at clouds. That I mean, I play fantasy football like the rest of us. But
Yeah, of course.
I'm not really big into like, oh, Ramondre Stevenson screwed me over in fantasy and got me 10 points. Like at the end of the day, I'd rather just see the Patriots win. Um, and I think, I would rather go 0-11 in my fantasy team and see the Patriots succeed rather than the reverse. And I think that's just something that I always say that my favorite stat is wins. Regardless of if you win 3-0 or if you win 70-0. And I think the Patriots should just, go back to no one really cares if you have a quarterback that can throw for all the passing yards. If you just have a quarterback that can help you get wins, I think that's the probably most important thing that people care about. And so I think that's probably the number one thing that I want to see the Patriots do is just win. And I know it's sort of a lazy cop out answer, but you know, I'm fine with them, you know, drafting some players that other people might not like. If they fit the team and if they can help the Patriots win football games, then that's a good offseason in my book.
Yeah, because our late round picks are pretty good. We gotten like, Demario Douglas. So we've gotten all these people that are good in the late rounds. Just as our early round, success is really not there. We had Sony Michel. He was good for a couple years and he started to fade down. N'Keal Harry, we don't talk about that. We don't even want to see that man ever in New England again. Do you even know what team he's on right now? I don't even know what team he's on.
He was on the Vikings at one point. I don't know if he signed a contract to stay with them, but I know that he had a stint in Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even want to see that man in New England ever again. I feel like it's ever since that, Chiefs game where he didn't score, it just seems like it's all started to go downhill really fast there. But, it's New England. I don't care if everyone, whatever quarterback we draft, I don't care if they say he's flashy. I don't care if he say he's a game manager. I don't care if they say he sucks. As long as he's doing good and winning us games, I don't care if he's throwing for 100 passing yards a game. As long as he's making the right throws on the right downs, because we're always going to be that run team with, we have Ramondre Stevenson and hopefully we re-sign Ezekiel Elliott. People didn't like that right away. I didn't because he was on the Cowboys and I hate the Cowboys. I was glad they lost, but I didn't like it when we signed him, and now I really like and I really hope we re-sign him because he's a good RB2. And then maybe, get Blake Corum out of Michigan. I'm a big Michigan fan too, because of Tom Brady and all those people that went there. Blake Corum is that great running back that we can slowly feed into that two spot when Zeke probably does this one more year with the Patriots. And then, we have those two young running backs. We're gonna have a young quarterback and young wide receivers. And then our defense is still pretty young outside, Matthew Judon or whatever. But yeah, I really do like how our team is slowly going to look. I think it's going to be a team that can slowly contend. It's probably not going to be a Super Bowl team next year right away, but maybe playoffs and then, slowly dig into people's minds saying that, we're back and we're slowly going to, take over the AFC again.
Yeah, I mean there are some pieces that you can definitely build around Matthew Judon, Christian Gonzalez, Jabril Peppers, um, all Christian Barmore on those defensive side. And then you get those players like, Mike Onwenu who's hitting free agency and Demario Douglas on offense and Ramondre Stevenson. So you have some blue collar guys or some blue chip guys that can really, help turn this around. It's just you need to build a better overall team around those players. Which the Patriots haven't really done over the past few years, but you have a good enough amount of players to really solidify your core. You just need to start adding to that core.
Yeah, I honestly I hope that we just, we'll find out what is wrong with our team and fix it. I don't think it's too many things wrong with the team. I think it's just, what we're gonna do wrong, what we're gonna fix, and hopefully it's just, something. Hopefully we figure it out and it's not just, constantly gonna keep re-gutting our team because that's not fun to see. A lot of teams do that. You laugh at them, but you don't want it to be your team.
Right.
And hopefully it's not the Patriots. I don't think it will be the Patriots, but I think we're going to do good. I like how our defense is looking. We got a lot of young players on defense. Christian Gonzalez, he probably would have been Pro Bowler. I don't know how the Patriots didn't have any Pro Bowlers. At least our punter should have been a Pro Bowler. He's the only one that got a lot of play time on the field. It seemed like, we did a lot of 3-and-outs. Christian Barmore could have possibly been a Pro Bowler. He did great this year. And the Denver game was honestly his show out game where people were probably watching that game because it was Sunday night, right? It was a Sunday night game.
Yeah, it was the Sunday night before Christmas.
Yeah, so people definitely should have been watching that game. He was just a defensive wrecking ball in that game. And honestly, I think we should at least had one Pro Bowler because that was like the first time since 2000 when we haven't had a Pro Bowler in the Pro Bowl, even though the Pro Bowl's not that fun anymore, it's just two-hand touch anymore. It's just, showing that our team can produce talent is the main thing.
Yeah.
Is there one more thing that you want to say before we do end this though, or did you pretty much get everything off your
I guess that's pretty much everything. I guess if I want to shamelessly plug myself, Gillette Nation on Instagram, two L's, two T's, um, and Hurwitz Sports on Twitter. Um, I really just talk about whatever's on my mind, Patriots related, other sports related. Um, and so if you want to hit me up there, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, it should be a fun off season. Whether it's signing a bunch of players or everybody getting disappointed. It's definitely gonna be an interesting few months in New England.
Yeah, it's gonna be a couple fun months, and maybe we'll see where the draft goes. I'm definitely gonna do a couple mock drafts. That's definitely gonna take some time. Can't really do anything outside like teams in the playoffs. You can't gotta kind of wait for that because you never know what could happen. But that's what I'm gonna be doing. You're probably gonna be doing a couple of those, I'm guessing. But hopefully you guys did watch this video. Hopefully you guys do check out his Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to be putting it in the link of the description. Make sure you guys do check him out. And until then, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.